going to be your first season with Texas State. Tell me a little bit about coming to San Marcos and what brought you here.
I was in Vegas last year. Um, Big thing is, Coach Spavital gave me a call and told me he had an opportunity for me to be able to come here. Got me close to my family. I'm originally from Texas, so I mean it was just a perfect storm. I had a decent job, but I think this for me, getting a little older, sometimes the job is not the glitz and the glamour of the job. It's the spot, what I can contribute in quality of life. And Coach Jake Spavital and Coach Zach Spavital have both they check both the boxes for me in that regard. So it's wonderful. Gets me back in the great state of Texas, coaching some good kids.
Was there anything about the program specifically that kind of drew your interest?
I mean, I've always thought it was a hidden gem. I mean, different than some of these other guys that are here. Me being the oldest one, I played in the old Southland Conference. So I played at University of North Texas. So, I mean, there have been great players that have come through San Marcos over the years, that are, and Texas State is, it's 30 minutes from Austin, 45 minutes from San Antonio. I mean, it's easy to get to. You're not too far whether you're in the Metroplex or you're in the Houston metropolitan area, and then you're right there in smack dab in the middle of Central Texas. And the vision that Coach Spavital has, I think Jake really has this going in the right direction. Got good kids, tough, work hard, and that's just up to all of us, coaches and support staff and kids included, for us to have an opportunity to take this thing to the next level and get it to where it needs to be.
Yeah, well, tell me a little bit about kind of your transition and meeting all the guys and kind of how you've tried to form quick connections with them.
Well, some of the guys I probably knew through recruiting before they got here, but the biggest thing is once you get into somewhere, it's getting in and rolling your sleeves up and trying to get as much of a genuine connection as you possibly can. I used to work for a guy to say, without relationships, then you can't enforce rules. We're just, we got really one rule. We want to do right. If we're at work, we want to, conduct ourselves as such. That we're not at home. We're not, hanging out somewhere, out to eat. There's a certain standard, and the standard around here is excellence that Coach Spavital is trying to the culture. So just getting in and becoming, I can't say one of them, but just building up that level of trust, and it's got to be a two-way street, and the communication lines of communication on the field and in between and outside the lines, they both have to be great.
Yeah, well, tell me a little bit about kind of the room that you have and what your expectations are going to be for these guys.
The biggest thing is us playing smart, and for us to play smart, we've got to be able to communicate, we've got to be able to get lined up, and we got to be able to tackle. And for the most part this spring, I will say the three things that we have done, they've communicated well. Have not been a lot of bust between the corner and safety room. And the tackling is slowly but surely getting where we need to be. And we've got to make sure that from the top of the bottom of the room, that we can't lose a step, and we can't drop any consistency off, because you never know when it's going to be your time.
And so what have you kind of seen from these guys throughout the spring camp so far that you guys have improved on?
Without just singling one or two people out, I think they're, a level of confidence that they have in one another. I definitely think that is elevated. I believe that the level of accountability to one another has gotten better as well too. And there's nowhere to hide. When I say there's nowhere to hide, there's nobody in the room letting each other off the hook. There's a certain level of and standard of excellence that those guys are looking for, and consistency that they're looking for. And, you know, they're not just waiting for myself or Coach Spav to say something. They're checking one another. And I think sometimes that's the beginning of having a pretty good defense.
You got the spring game coming up this Saturday. What are you wanting to see out of the DBs in that scrimmage?
Great communication, no busts, and no balls over the head.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.